Welcome to Checking In with Dr. B, a space dedicated to live conversations with those who have found and lived their joy. Today, my guest is Joanna Shortt. Joanna, a native of Arima in Trinidad and Tobago, is a musician, educator, composer, and Steelpan adjudicator, and has been involved in the steel band movement since the age of 12. Joanna holds a diploma in education and a master of philosophy and cultural studies from the University of the West Indies. Her thesis is titled Gender in the Contemporary Steelband. Joanna received a Bachelor of Arts Degree in popular music, specializing in the Steelpan, with a minor in business administration at Florida Memorial University. Over the years, Joanna's awards have included a National Youth Music Award from the government of Trinidad and Tobago and other accolades for her musical performances and contributions. Joanna continues to pursue her passion for music and education as a music educator and acting dean of discipline at El Dorado West Secondary School in Trinidad. She strongly believes in the merits of music and education and their ability to nurture creativity that is crucial to holistic development. I was fortunate that Joanna, during her undergraduate studies at Florida Memorial, was my assistant. She was successful in organizing even me. In addition to her organizational talents and her vision, Joanna is a true dynamo. Welcome, Joanna.
Thank you so much, Dr. B.
Well, I've said a little bit about you, okay? But you tell me now about your journey.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, my journey started at the age of 12, and I was very honored to be, I'd say, born into a Steelpan family, though my family is split into sports and Steelpan. My deceased father was a pan player, Steelpan captain of Arima Angel Harps. My deceased brother as well was an extraordinary Steelpan player. And so I grew into it with pans at my house and the tuners being there tuning and the guys practicing. And so it was always around me. And I knew very early that I wanted to be a part of this craziness, this excitement. And it wasn't too long after my brother passed, that I really began to get involved in the Steelpan.
You said that your brother
been
passed?
Involved ever since.
Sorry to interrupt. You said that your brother passed?
Yes. My eldest brother was a player at Arima Angel Harps, and at the age of 18, on a steel band lime after carnival, they went to the beach and he drowned. Oh, I would have been about 7 at that time.
Oh, so you were just 7. Oh my goodness. Yes. So you followed in his footsteps at that point?
Yes, I'd like to say that. I remember him practicing and I would beg to play and he would never want me to touch his pan. But I was just always fiddling around. And I think when he passed, my parents, I guess they were a little more confident in allowing me then to play. And some people were surprised, thinking that they wouldn't want anybody else, to get involved. But then they really started pushing me, and I joined the Melodian Steel Orchestra for a July-August camp. I started playing tenor, and I remember the guy in charge said to me, "You look like you could play a double tenor." And he put me on a double tenor, and that was it. So from there, I went on to play with Mr. Saunders, who's my godfather, and he's now deceased, Mr. Nervin Saunders. And I played at the Eastern School of Steelpan Music. And from there, he took me down to Invader Steel Orchestra, and I've been there ever since. I'm proud to say I'm a member of Invader Steel Orchestra, and everything else went from there. Yes.
Do you play double tenor with Invaders?
No. I started on tenor at Invaders. Mr. Saunders was very much about allowing me to dabble in different pans. So he would have me on the tenor and the double tenor and take a little thing all around. So I mainly played the tenor at Invaders. And every now and then, like for Panorama, I would play a double tenor. In the past few years, let's say the past 10 years, I've been playing a cello.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, because I know you're on double tenor, and double tenor is
Right.
one of those instruments I find that it really calls to you, and those people who are
Yes.
proficient on that instrument
Yes.
are really
Yes.
amazing because it's its own creature.
Yes, it is. It is. I think over the years, the past few years, though, um, I guess I wanted a pan that would allow me to move more. And I mean, with all of the pans, you have to really focus on. But I think with a cello, I'm able to move a little more. And I guess with my lifestyle, my work and everything, when the carnival comes, Panorama comes, I really just want to move and dance. And I think the cello allows me to do that a little more. So I've been sticking with that for the past few years.
I
Yes.
understand that need for movement. I love the bass because of the
Yes,
bass. You can
I
just
know
move it,
that.
right? So cello, yes, the same thing, the same thing.
Yes.
So, what made you start after being in the Panyard in terms of your studies? What moved you to leave Trinidad and go to the US for your undergraduate studies?
Yeah. I think to be honest, I am one of those who when I finished school, I did A levels. I was strongly involved in the stage side and Invaders at that time. I was the assistant secretary. I still hadn't fully decided what I wanted to do, which direction I wanted to go as a young person. Um, and I had this experience where the band traveled to Miami for Miami Carnival. And it is there that I saw Florida Memorial Steelband playing. And one
Oh,
of my friends, Kenrick was there with the band. I would have known Kenrick from school. I also saw Cassandra um, Blesdell.
yes, Cassandra, bless
And
her.
right, and I remember seeing the band, and I think that was the moment. I saw the excitement and how the players were, these young players and so on. And that really fueled an excitement in me. And I remember talking with them after, and they were the ones who started to encourage me, that I should really consider Florida Memorial. And they really pressed me. And that night, they took me to meet you, Dr. B. And I think that started the drive towards furthering the music, and I always wanted the experience abroad. I have a brother that is abroad. He left Trinidad on soccer scholarship. And so that was always in me too, wanting that experience of study abroad. And so that opportunity just came, and I followed that. Yes.
Ah, I remember that night with
Yes.
Mammy because I remember the students, as usual, had done their own arrangement, and they were
Yes.
so happy that they were after the results came out, they were jumping around the place saying, "We didn't come last, we didn't
Yes.
come last."
Yes, yes, I remember that. Oh, that was a great memory.
Yes, yes, yes. So once you were at the school and even as you completed your degree, what was the next? What was next for you?
I knew that mean, having done that combination of music and business administration, I wanted to get into music business. I think I had really got interested in copyright and intellectual property and so on. And so I wanted to go in that direction. But I think the opportunity came for me to teach. Um, I, I, I want to confidently say I think I have that edge in me. And I always feel like, from a young girl, I remember putting teddy bears to sit and I would teach and so on. So I think that was naturally there already. And so when that opportunity came as I graduated, I took it and taught for 1 year at Master Academy. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Still with music business in mind, but I said let me go with the education for a while. And
That
so
was in Florida, Master
in
Academy in
Florida,
Florida.
yes, yes. And then in 2007 when I returned home, bushy-tailed and anxious, I had all these plans of forming a female band and, all these grand ideas. That's still there, but I know it takes a little time. And so I just fell into education again and have been teaching ever since.
What in education brings you joy? Especially after the years that we've come through or still are going through with COVID, what is it about education that, you know, makes
I
you
think
continue?
the joy that you on students' faces. I have a student, a past student who is a teacher now, and I would never forget. She told me, she said, "Miss, I started teaching because of you. From the first time I met you, Miss, I knew
Oh,
I wanted to be a teacher." And that I've never forgotten that. We're still very close, but I think moments like that really um, bring joy and bring meaning to the career. You know, um, and with music, when you see students who come in who don't know how to play an instrument, um, begin to learn to play the steel pan especially. And then all of a sudden they want to come break time, lunchtime, sometimes they have to beg them, "Oh gosh, not today." That that brings something. And of course, it most times is the kids in school who we deem troublemakers.
yes, yes. They're always sent to the music room.
Yes, they always sent to the music room. And so that brings some joy, some kind of hope. And that as much as I think of I have to change professions, that really keeps me going.
When you say you have to change professions, what is next for you? Because right now you're Dean of Discipline, which incorporates the music, yes?
Well, I think the qualities involved in being a teacher itself, especially a music teacher, has helped in this dean of discipline. Sometimes I think it's too much for me because it takes me away from the music room. I now have to do a lot of walking around the corridors and really enforcing discipline. And so sometimes I think it takes me away from the music room. But I think those qualities like patience and um, those really helped me. Some teachers always say to me, "Mphil Shortt, you're so calm, right? Nothing ever gets to you." And I think for me, it's you get that from being involved in music and so on. So I I know that music will always be a part, but I think I would want to explore um, new experiences.
What
You know,
kind of new experiences do you think? How, and
um,
would it incorporate music as well?
oh yes, definitely, the music will be there. I do. I think the music business aspect is still in my mind. So I would want to be a part of a really dynamic organization that probably in the same area I once was interested in, copyright and so on, um, or leading an organization that more in the administrative side too. I've always loved the administrative side of things. Um, and the education will still be there, but I think I would like that experience. Yeah,
Ah,
the business
yes,
side. Mhm.
yes. So in within your work in the schools and in the bands, how have you kind of married your administrative experience?
Well, as a teacher, especially in secondary school, yeah, everything, you do everything. So we have a number of clubs at our school. We have the drumming ensemble, the steel band, the choir, I'm leading the choir, I'm supervising the drumming on some and these other clubs. I have to do all the paperwork, get forms ready, uniforms, all of that. So I have a taste of everything. And sometimes it seems a bit much. But I mean, in secondary school, you just have to do it all. There is no one to do the administrative side. And then, so it's all married into one. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, I see that. How, over the years, have you found that there were times, I know you spoke of your brother's passing, your father's passing. Have there been times when you felt that things were just going south? And if so, did you use your talent and to maybe get to the next step?
There are times when I feel a bit stagnant. I feel stuck. It's easy to get to that point. I think when you're in education, everything becomes routine. And I think I try to remember all the initial dreams I had, all the things that I want to do still. And there's so much more work to be done in terms of the steel pan. And that kind of fuels it a little bit. In addition to that, I have a young one. She's only 10. And so that brings an immense drive to not remain stagnant, but to do other things. It's important that she sees me doing things and wanting different and wanting better. So I think she's a main inspiration at
And
those times when I feel stagnant.
do you find that she too is pulled towards the music as you were?
I think I would like her to go more towards it. She she is more into drama. She loves art. I would love her to get more into the music, but I mean, it's all the arts. And of course, kids are more outspoken now, so she would remind me, Mommy, it's not what you want me to do. This is what I want to do. So it's always a little kind of negotiation between she and I about what she should do. But I think it would eventually come. But for
Yeah.
now, she really loves drama.
Ah, okay. Let's go and speak a little bit about your thesis because
Right.
you looked at gender in the steel bands. What were some of your findings and have they influenced how you approach your teaching or your the different things you do in life?
Um, Doing that thesis was a real eye-opener. I think I went into the study thinking strictly men, women, and realized that there was so much more to gender. And in a nutshell, it's all about performance. And so it really was a comparison of of the way that gender was performed in the old days and the way it is performed now. And interestingly, my two case study bands, I found that while we have evolved and gender has changed and so on, there was still some very remarkable things in one band. For example, one particular band, there are still much less females that do not play in the front line. So they still have very strict, rigid lines that females do not cross, even while they are still very accepting. And I found that to be very interesting,
Even
doing
in
some interviews,
2022.
even in 2022. Doing some of the interviews, some of the guys told me, no, in this band, women can't be up in the front. They don't have what it takes,
Wow.
Yeah, and that was interesting to hear, yeah, even now. And they are proud of their woman and so on, but I think they saw the women as they're necessary because things have changed, but they're not in charge. One of the guys told me, we still in charge.
Ah,
And yes. and then of course, this particular band, we went in a little into things, homosexuality and all these things. And of course, they were very adamant about certain things. Not in this band. This is a male band, a strong band. And, you know, once we sense those things, they're out of this band. And, you know, so especially in this day and age, those things are still there. Yeah. You know, but all in all, I realized that I could say that it's that particular band. You do see it in some other bands as well. But I think for the most part, gender has itself overall evolved, and we're making good steps toward the future.
And you
Yeah.
said you had two bands as case studies. Did you find the
Yes.
same thing in the other band as well?
No, no, no. And I think it had to do with our location, where the other band was located, the whole history and the culture of the band. The other band, there was more young people. I would say it's more in a middle class area. And so they were a little more open to accepting different types and so on of people. And there were a lot more women, females in that band, and in many leadership positions too.
So that shaped the trajectory of that band as
Yes.
well.
Yes, it did. It did. I think, you know, for me as an educator, you have to have an open mind, you know, and so it doesn't really matter who or what. All has to be encouraged. We encourage all students to come, and within the school, you know, the way that gender is performed is a lot different to the panyard. You know, the panyard is the real roots of the steel pan, and within the school, there has to be a different way in which things are done.
So what differences do you find between the school environment and the panya, the community environment?
Yeah. I think in the panyard, it's the space is more free and it's open. I was stating to someone the other day, even the jargon in the panyard, you know, you're free to, there's a certain language that you can use in the panyard. The space itself encourages, I think, more excitement, more creativity. You know, whereas in the school, we're still a little restricted. There's a greater understanding. We're facing the challenge right now at school where some of the neighbors are complaining about the noise. And they've been sending emails and coming into the school to talk with the principal. And while steel bands may experience that because they tour in communities, I think there's an understanding that, look, this is a panyard. So there, you know, so those things, those are some of the differences here.
Yeah, because I'm surprised because in the schools, I thought the schools might have been immune to that pushback from neighbors in terms of complaining, but apparently not.
Yeah. Previously, our music room was more to the back of the school, so we were closer to the next secondary school, and probably about two homes. And I remember one of them used to come across and tell us how much he enjoyed. He's a retiree. And he always used to come across and tell me that he really enjoys the music. He says sometimes it sounds like noise, but he lives there alone and he feels as if he has company. So he enjoyed that. But now that the music group for the past 3 years has moved to the front of, they kind of flush in the community where there are a lot of houses around. And I think there are a lot of elderly people around. And so it's the pan playing, the drums playing, you know, it's a lot. And so we've, I guess we have to look at soundproofing the rooms now.
Talking about that, speaking about that, do you find there's support for pan in education in your case in Trinidad?
I think a lot more could be done. There's still a struggle to even get resources. So at my school, we just finished having our annual talent show, which was on Friday, to raise funds. And we took that money and we went down and bought pan sticks and that kind of thing. So things are always slow in coming. They support verbally and they like when things are done, but to get
Good.
the resources to get it done is certainly an issue. I can't remember the last time our pans were tuned, probably 2018.
Wow.
So
Oh my
yes, so,
goodness.
sometimes the kids would say, "Miss, my pan not panning, it's something wrong." But the
Pans not
pads,
panning.
yeah, the
My
pans are
pan's
out of
not
tune.
panning.
Pans not panning. The most we would get for CSEC, we have some students that would play the pan. I have to at least get those pans tuned, which is always just a few. So there
And
are
what is
still
CSAC?
challenges.
Sorry, Joanna, what is CSAC?
It's the move from CXE, so
And what is
Caribbean
CXE?
Second Caribbean Examination Council. So this is the exam when students get to Form 5. They complete the exams to leave school.
Okay.
Called CSEC, same thing, different acronym name. Yes. So music is a choice of subject in Form 4 for our students. We always have a small group. So they say I have 4 boys. First time, I'm excited,
Wow.
and they are excited about, yeah. So I'm always excited to meet my 4 boys. They're all playing pan.
Nice.
And for exam, a moderator comes in twice and listens to them perform pieces. And then, of course, they have the written part of their exam. So things have to be organized for the exam in terms of getting their instruments tuned. So that much will be done when the focus is on exam. But apart from that, it has been difficult to get resources.
Yes.
Yes.
What do you see as the future of Pano? What would you like to see in an ideal world and your part in it? What would you see?
I would like to see PAN in all schools. Currently, we have the Steelpan in most secondary schools. I would like to see the Steelpan in all schools, from preschool, primary school, secondary, or tertiary institutions. Um, and I would like to see properly well-functioning, well-structured programs where there can really be that interplay between theory and practical. I know for me, at least when I started doing my theory exams, I could never make connections. I always wondered, why doing chords for? Why scale is important? And it's only later on doing my degree, I realized how important some things were. So I'd like to see that the theory working hand in hand with the practical from very early. And with that understanding, then the reading becomes important. The reading, because in Trinidad, we learn a lot by rote.
Right.
And while I try to keep that, and that's a major part, a thing in the panyard, we learn by rote. In school, we try to do a little more of the sight reading. So I'd like to see all of that working hand in hand in the future.
Yes,
Yeah.
having that balance between the rote
Yes.
learning and also the sight reading. If you
Yes.
if you were starting off, if you're a youngster starting off, what advice would you give to a youngster starting off now?
Specifically with the steel pan or music?
Music, how they can use their talents to just bring joy, and actually not even youngsters, anybody of any age. How do you use
Yeah.
your talent to bring that joy into your life?
Yeah. I think that there must first be a love for it. You have to really love the music or whatever you're doing. And I think that would push you toward anything else. So I've had the pleasure of meeting students like that who come in fully loving the music, not knowing how to play an instrument sometimes, but I see myself being a musician or into the music. So I think that's a start.
Yeah.
Even at exam level, for them to choose the subject at Form 4, the students must have some experience in theory, at least up to grade 3. But I've had students over the years that I've taken who just have sheer determination. They have no background,
Yeah.
no theory, but they come in with that. And I think that's the first step. Once you have that, it'll take you where you have to go. As I said, I never knew what I wanted to do, but I know I had this love, and it just happened at the right time because that love was there. And I think that's what for every young person to find what you love, find what you're passionate about, and it will lead you in the right direction.
You
Yes.
have, I've heard you say that you are a strong pan woman. What does that mean? What does that mean?
I I pride myself on, I think people feel very proud to say I'm a pianist. I'm a violinist. So um students ask me every time I say you play the piano. Well, yeah, I'm not a professional, but I can play a little. But you very rare do you hear very proudly, I'm a pan woman. That's I play the steel pan, and some of them they would say, Mrs. That's all you play? Well, that is what I'm really good at. And that
Yeah.
is what I enjoy, right? So I think I pride myself on that. And then we've grown accustomed to hearing about the pan man, the pan man. I like to dispel that and boast I'm a pan woman. I'm not a pan man, I'm a pan woman. Um, and just like many others, I've been involved for many years, going down to the pan, yeah, toting my pan, doing everything else that the pan men do.
And now
So
with the cello,
yes,
you
I'm a
really,
strong,
really, you really toting pans.
yes, yes, yes.
Because for those that don't know, could you describe the cello pan, now as opposed to the cello in the symphony orchestra?
Oh yes, yes. So the cello it belongs to the middle section of the steel band, and it carries the harmony. You play the chords on it. You have the three cellos, so it can be three pans. And if you think about the tenor, which is the main steel pan, you have all the same notes on the cello pan, but everything is now spread amongst three pans. You can have four. All of them are spread among four pans. So it's a little more challenging because you have more than one, but it really allows you to move and dance and so on. Yes,
And in the band in which you play, Invaders, they're known for the sound of their middle
of the
pan.
cello pan.
Yes, the
Yes,
cellos. Yes,
yes,
yes. So,
yes.
so, Joanna, what else would you like to share with us that we may not have touched upon?
Um, I I would like in the future to have my own music school. Though I've been talking about and I think that would just kind of bring everything together. Me wanting to get into the music business and more of the administrative side and so on. So I see this dream for a large, you know, um, music school, and it might take me away from the secondary, but the focus would still be there on education. So I see that, and I want to see more meaningful steel pan events. I remember a time when we had Panorama G,
Yes,
which was
yes,
more
agreed.
jazz, and we had a music festival, which was more classical music and so on. I want us to get back to that. Um, and I know COVID would have, stopped a lot of that, but I think even before that, a lot of it had stopped. I
Yes.
want to see more of that. Even when it comes to carnival around Panorama, for the school's Panorama, I always look at, when I adjudicate, let's say primary schools, we move around to the primary schools to listen to the bands. And then they choose about 15 bands out of, sometimes we're moving around all week. So in 1 week, sometimes we listen to about 60, 70 bands or more. And then they cut it down to 15 bands for the finals, for the Savannah. I always find that very sad. I find all the kids should get the
To have
opportunity
that
to
opportunity.
come, yeah, to come to, the Mecca, come to the Savannah. And even if it's a jamboree, it doesn't have to be a competition, but all the students come. And it's always amazing when we go, especially to the villages, the smaller, there are two schools. I always think of them. the schools have about 20 students, I think, or less.
20
So
in
when we
all or
in
20
all, in
Oh
all,
my goodness, yeah.
20 in the whole school. So when we go to the to listen to them, it's like the whole school playing, and then the whole village comes out.
Oh, that's a
And they're so
fun.
excited with the flags, and yeah, the whole village comes out to see, and it's everybody. It's not just mommy and daddy's auntie, uncle, his granddad, it's everybody coming to
Oh my
see.
gosh.
And then after all of that, they may not reach to the savannah, so they would have done all that practicing to stay right in the schoolyard. I think I would like to see that day when all the bands could come out to the savannah and have a jamboree, and everybody could get to enjoy all these students that really put their heart into it. It's really amazing to see the kids play, you know.
And the
Um,
level, the professionalism, the sound of
yes,
the school bands is
yes,
extremely, extremely high.
yes, yes, it is. So there's still a lot of work to do, a lot of work to do, and it takes a lot, I know, in terms of finances.
Yeah.
Um, but I would like to be a part of that, of making those kinds of changes, where we could really truly be appreciated as the mecca of Steelpan,
Yes.
yeah,
And
outside of the panorama. Mhm.
and looking at your music business acumen, what are some of the things you think we need to do to for Pan not only in the country of Trinidad and Tobago, but not internationally as well?
Yeah. I think, well, locally, I think we need to get private companies involved a lot more. I think there isn't the vision of what PAN can do for them, um, because we're not marketed that way. So we're still very much about entertainment, and that's it. But I
Mm,
think we really should mold it and market it as a more business oriented.
yeah.
Um, and I think we have to start locally, and everything filters outward. You know, we tend to, there's always discussion about it belongs to us, and we're seeing so many countries doing so many things, and there's in a lot of cases there's always an issue. But I think we all need to work together. But it's important that we um, fix things here. And one of the main things is really um, shaping it in a way that the steel pan looks as a, marketed as business more than just entertainment. You
Right.
know?
The Pan is business. Yeah.
Yes.
And eventually, hopefully, your students wouldn't have to say, Miss, my pan isn't panning.
Isn't panning. Isn't
Panning.
panning. And then that's one of the things I try. I always talk to them about the many careers, that, because students ask me, Miss, so the only thing you can do with music is teach. And I said, no. And I try to outline all the different careers.
Good.
And pan tuning is one that I tell them about. And they're always amazed at that somebody, I think in their minds, they think it's bought that way. And so when we talk to them about that, the fact that a person does this, they're really amazed at that. So I always try to introduce them to these things, steel pan arrangers, and outside of that, some music therapy and entertainment lawyers and so on. And they're always amazed because they do not know about these non-traditional professions. Yeah.
Yes. Because they have to be exposed to them. And I'm so glad that you're
Yes.
doing that.
Yes.
Oh, that is
Yes.
excellent. Well, Joanna, this has been lovely. Just
Yes, it
catching,
has.
seeing what you're doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing everything that you're going to do after this.
Yes. Yes. I am excited for what is to come. As a mother, there's always that challenge between where you could go and still do what is necessary as a mother.
Yeah.
So I think, but I have a plan, so it'll all come to fruition soon.
And knowing you, I know it will. I know it
Thank
will.
you. Thank you so much, Dr. B.
Thank you, Joanna, and give your daughter, give your family hugs for me. It's so
Yes.
good to see you. So good to
Same here,
chat
Dr.
with
B.
you.
Same here, Dr. B. And if you want, please share, subscribe, checking in with Dr. B. Yes.
Thanks, Joanna. Have a wonderful evening.
You too, Dr. B. Much love.
Much love. Welcome to Checking In with Dr. B. In addition to our video podcast, we invite you to join our Jumpstart network at keepyourjoyandrise.com. There you'll have access to questions and answers with our guests, virtual meetups, and opportunities to suggest and participate in workshops and spur-of-the-moment talk and jam sessions. We are creating a community of positive thinkers and doers. Come join.